Alrighty, so the dynamic duo back by popular demand. Thought I'd start this one off, Steve, like I started the last one, by asking you another riddle. You solved the last one way too quickly for my liking, so I've gone a little bit harder this time, but I think you'll get this one. Here we go.
Alright.
In 2 years, Tom will be twice as old as he was 5 years ago. How old is Tom?
In 2 years, Tom will be twice as old as he was 5 years ago.
Correct.
Oh, fucking hell. All right. In 2 years, Tom will be twice as old. This is trickier.
Pun intended.
In 2 years, Tom will be twice as old as he was 5 years ago. All right. He would have to be...
No way.
Nah. I'm thinking it's a low number. It has to be a low number because...
I like that you're speaking us through how you're thinking this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you've already got it
be-
by now, sorry,
Huh?
you keep going. I was going to say, if you've already got it by now, write in the YouTube comments how quickly you got it. JP likes to do this.
In 2 years, Tom will be twice as old as he was 5 years ago.
Yeah. How old is Tom?
12.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's done it again. For those watching that want to
yeah.
know how that works, 5 years ago, Tom was 7.
Yeah.
In 2 years, he'll be 14. The answer's 12.
Yeah.
Nice work, mate. How's your brain now?
Yeah. It's actually, there's a bit of pressure as well with the camera on.
No
Palms are
doubt.
a little bit sweaty.
No doubt. I was
Um,
getting nervous for you.
But it had to be a low number because obviously we're talking about like addition and multiplication being roughly the same result over a period of time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's
Like
interesting
if
how
you
your
double
brain
something
works.
from 40 to 80, you're not going to be able to get there by adding 2 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Make
so it
or
had to
five
be
minusing
like
5. Yeah, okay.
the same change in addition had to be roughly the same change in multiplication. So therefore, it had to be a low number. So initially, I was like, it's got to be 10 and 5. Like it's got to be around 10 and 5.
Yeah.
And then I was like 4 and 8. Nah. And then I was like, oh yeah,
There's an insight into the system's brain.
the system's brain. Yeah.
Watching that unfold in real time. Apart from, well, you've nailed the riddle. What do we want to talk about today? Have you got anything on the tip of your tongue?
Well, we haven't really talked publicly too much about the sports system that we've just,
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess, set up. It still hasn't launched yet, the winter sports. Obviously, winter sports last year was the first rendition of our sports service. Mm-hmm. It was I'd say a pretty successful operation in general.
Pretty.
Yeah.
I'd say very successful.
I think it was very good. Obviously, it offered a completely different service for members.
Yep.
Obviously, it's just offered to Platinum Squad members, so we should probably clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
But it does offer a very different service. Obviously, probably a lot of people would love to follow the horse system, but due to time and effort,
Especially during
constraints,
footy season.
During footy season, a lot of people are playing sport. So the sports service obviously offers a bit of a different dynamic in terms of the fact that all the tips are sent out before the day. We're not tipping next in run. You know, people get sort of an hour, 2 hours generally on average to put all of their bets on, and then it's simply turn off, and then they can just go check the results at the end of the day. So we'll be running that again. We've just launched it. We've just launched it to Platinum Squad members as like a priority access, and then we had an early bird special. Now it's just open for all Platinum Squad members to gain the last few spots. So that should be exciting.
Good way to diversify kind of your match betting income.
Correct,
as well
yeah.
for those people that are looking to go to another level or to make that 10, 20 grand instead of doing it just through horses to add some sport to it as well.
Any good investor should be looking to sort of add multiple different revenue streams, right?
100%. I honestly don't have a whole lot to talk about today, not off the top of my head that I can think of, but I wanted to touch on, just because a bit of feedback that we got from a 15-minute podcast 2 weekends ago, or 2 weeks ago, should I say, the renting versus buying. Now that obviously stirred up a lot of conversation, not only within the community, but I think we got rinsed quite a bit on TikTok. We made a comeback to TikTok.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, like, why do people get so upset about someone else's opinion? Like, if you talk about, this is what I do for me, this works for me, and then someone watches that, not personally speaking to them, and then they get so triggered by it or tell you that they're wrong or rinse you. Well, what is that? Why do people feel that way?
I mean, I think you can look at this just generally speaking as well. I don't know. From my point of view, I think it's people are possibly a little bit insecure in their own decision.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think there's an element to maybe things that are said by other people, not just us, anyone. And then if you hadn't thought about that previously before making a decision, or something that's said by someone else like really hits home and you're like, fuck, I didn't think of that, or I should have thought about that, or geez, that makes a whole lot of sense and that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah, interesting. I was sort of actually thinking they had thought about it, and they understand it's a risk, but yeah, you've actually gone one step further. I was thinking like people would hear that and be like, or hear, what our opinions are on renting and stuff and be like, yeah, no, I considered this, but I still think my decision was the better decision. So they're getting very defensive about it. But at the same time, it's very much down the same alley. They just simply didn't think about it. So then they feel a little bit silly or a little bit stupid for not considering.
The only reason I would think that, and
that probably
your
makes more sense, I reckon,
is like, if you were so confident in your decision, like you wouldn't need to be.
No, that's why I mean, like they're a little bit insecure. People. They're not actually confident about it.
Yeah.
So they're like, and they feel like they need to voice their opinion just to make themselves feel like they've made the right decision. I don't know.
No, that's fair enough. Another thing that I posted on our socials the other day, just jumping through topics here, I posted on our socials to ask people what kind of content they wanted.
Yeah.
And this is like near the top, just general content. But another one was vlogs. Now, yesterday we posted a vlog. I actually went out to a member's house and filmed the whole thing.
It was a good video.
Oh, it was sick. I loved
awesome.
it. I know Tricky Boy, who's sitting on a foam roll. No, he's not. He's just doing some push-ups over
triceps.
there. I know Tricky really enjoyed it because he thought that's the content that people that are following need to see, and that's the content that people that haven't followed yet that think that this is just tips need to see. Like a full-on insight into the change in perspective and mindset of a long-term member.
It's very cool.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more of that out. For people that haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend giving it a watch. It's on our YouTube, posted yesterday. I think you'll get a much better understanding of a whole operation from a member.
To anybody that hasn't seen that yet, for heaven's sake, mate, what are you doing? If you've missed it, we've posted, that means you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel. Now, Tom, to answer your question earlier, why people just get angry and all this stuff, what I've realised is people hate until they can resonate. But if you want to be a better mate and stay up to date so you're never late, make sure you subscribe into the boys' YouTube. Seriously, mate. That vlog with Marnus, life-changing stuff. You could have a mate who's just like him, pissing his life away on the punt. Help them. Subscribe. Back to you, boys.
Thanks for that, Tricky.
Thanks, Tricky.
Nice little way with words there.
Yeah.
Are you a rapper?
I was.
Was.
Yeah.
Check out his content on YouTube. So, yeah.
I actually really like that line. People hate until they resonate.
But it is true.
It's actually really true.
Some of our, it's funny that you said that, Tricky, because some of our longest term members were originally haters.
Yeah.
Like full on haters. And then they go through the content or they see like one thing and they're like, fuck, that is me.
Yeah.
Well, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Or, we used to
be open-minded.
We used to on TikTok give people that hated 3 months to the service, just be like, mate, nothing to hide. Come and have
exactly
a look.
right,
share it to the world if it's a big scam. And then they ended up going, oh shit.
Yeah. Did anyone ever take us? We had a few people that would take those.
Yeah, Mikey P did. There was another guy on TikTok called can't remember, Josh something or James something.
Yeah.
There's been a few, but if anyone is watching this and thinks it's a genuine scam, send us a DM on Instagram saying
I doubt they're
scam,
watching this, but
and at least I know you've watched this.
Yeah. I do love, every now and again we challenge people to come onto a podcast. The haters come onto a podcast, and more than happy. We literally want a hater to come onto the podcast so that so they can challenge us in front of the camera. And we're put on the spot. We can't go away and scheme and come up with the perfect response to them. But I'd love for a hater to come on and just to see if they can poke holes through it, because reality is every time we challenge someone to do that, they all of a sudden disappear.
Yeah, it'd be that. I guess the thing with that is like for someone to get on a podcast, you then have to show your face. You have to actually be in front of the camera, and then also it's very easy to criticize or to rinse people like from behind a keyboard when no one knows who you are. And there's a reason that all these people do it on like generic accounts. They don't have their name on it. It's not linked to any of their profiles
just
because they don't want to. They don't want to do that. They're not happy with where they're at, or they're disappointed or frustrated about something, whatever it may be. But there are also people that do it on their normal accounts, and I reckon those people probably would jump on a podcast, but would be worried that we would like set them up or have them in a position where they end up looking stupid.
Well, yeah, we would. Of course we would.
But we wouldn't set them up. It would just be like if you discuss through, you just walk through things logically.
Yeah. We're not going to rip shreds off them, But like they're going to come in here and say the same things that we've been hearing for 4 years.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, no, it's still gambling at the end of the day. You say you've never had a losing calendar month, but now you have. Like it's just going to be the same shit over and over again. And then we're just going to be like, yeah, mate, X, Y, Z.
4 years. It's actually baffling that that's been going for 4 years. And we did something that we'd never done before on Sunday. We had a business coach come in.
We did.
And I know that you certainly enjoyed that. I loved it. What was maybe one of the key takeaways that you got from that? I'll just preface this by saying for people watching, we actually literally had a guy come in and help us understand the flaws in our business and the way that we operate as individuals and how we can kind of work better as a team, grow our business, and ultimately, be more successful as individuals, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call us.
Yep. Yeah, I think these conversations are cool. I'm just going to go off a little bit of a tangent. These conversations are really cool because I think it helps people understand when we say we do this because we love helping people, and we do, yes, of course, we do this because we love developing ourselves. It gives us more of a purpose, like in terms of running these communities. Obviously, we make money from running these communities. We need to make a living at the end of the day. If we weren't making a living, we wouldn't be able to pay rent, and not be buying a house. But like these sort of conversations, I think help people like realize that we're not talking shit. Yes, we make money from it, but yes, we love running these communities. It gives us so much more purpose. And doing things like bringing in this business coach develops a whole bunch of different set of skills, different life skills that obviously you can apply in business as well. So it was awesome. I actually really, really loved it. And I hope we work, whether or not it's with the same bloke, but definitely continue to work on these things moving forward. But I think the key takeaway for me was really just people. Like at the end of the day was just people and how you work best with people, from a business relationship point of view, but obviously this then carries over into life as well. And I think the biggest takeaway for me was like leadership and being the difference between being a manager and being a leader. I think really hit home with me with what GN was saying. I won't say his name. And it was really interesting that the key sort of thing that he said was managers manage tasks, whereas leaders lead people. And it's like you can have, they're two very different things. A leader is someone who can get people under their wing, give people a vision. People want to work with a leader, whereas a manager is like, get this done, get it done by this day, no ifs, buts, ands, let's just get it done. And I think that was a really, really, for me, I'm very sort of, I guess, mathematical. It's like that's very clear. It's like this is what a leader does, this is what a manager does, and obviously then the ways to go about that and communicating with people and understanding how people think and understanding that people think differently and why they think that way then helps you sort of understand how you can best sort of communicate with those people. And there's a lot that you could go into it, but that was my favorite part of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think something that GN was really good at was just like defining terms. Now, I've spoken about this before. Obviously, Hormozi's massive on this. Just simply like, what does, like you said, what does being a leader be? Like, what does it actually mean?
Yeah.
And the one that, for defining terms, the way that Hormozi speaks about it is like, if I say you're charismatic, what does that actually mean? Because people don't know what that means. And essentially like being charismatic, and I know you've probably listened to this podcast, it's just it's just like a massive set of all these different little skills. Like you look people in the eye, you nod, you smile, you say hello to people, you shake their hand. So like when you say be charismatic, it's like, dude, what the hell, like be a leader.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means unless you're super skilled, unless you are super charismatic, you can just go and do it. But the way Jared kind of explained, like it looks like this. And to be able to do this and to be a leader, you need to have this business plan and you need to all be aligned and you need to understand that Steve works differently to Tom, who works differently to JP. And then, how do the people that work under you and a part of your team, how does Lenny, how does Tricky see you, and like what are the actions and things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis that they pick up? And for me, I was like, wow, like we've done so well, but we're also just like
shambles,
like we have so much growth. And a lot of people would see what we do here as like, we sit here, we send out some tips on a Saturday, we send some people some messages on Discord, and that's it. And it's like, man, like all good and well, that's part of what we do, but we are running quite a large operation that has, significant overheads, turns over quite a lot of money. I think we're very cautious talking about money and revenue and sales and it's all kind of like coded, but like, we're running a big business small business in the grand scheme of things, but compared to like sending out
there's
tips.
risks.
Yeah,
there's risks
100%.
associated. Yeah,
Definitely.
100%.
And I think sharing that more as we become better at it and discuss it more. We did film quite a bit of it, and I'd be interested to see what JP can pull from that. So we aren't just plebs that sit behind a screen, send out a few tips. That is our 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I think we could dive into that a bit more next week.
I definitely think we could. I think it's interesting. I mean, one thing to finish on, I really enjoy listening to Hormozy's podcast because, and he even says it himself, he's like, no one documents starting up a business, building a business, and where you start and where you finish. Now, obviously, we're hopefully very much in the start of our journey. Who knows where we'll be in 5, 10, 20 years? Who knows? But I think it's cool, and I think people might find it interesting. I don't know, but we'll see what people say in the comments.
Yeah, have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
So if you want to learn what match betting is and how to get started, there's a free course linked directly in the YouTube description. It goes for 60 minutes. It contains a number of videos explaining how it all works and how you can get started for free today.